Hi, I'm Vikki Locke with C2 Communications, and this is DF Talks. For over 50 years, Downing-Frye Realty has set the standard for excellence and professionalism in Naples, Marco Island, Bonita Springs, and Estero real estate markets. And today joining us is Sergeant Brian Sawyer. Hello.
Thank you for having me, Vikki. I appreciate the opportunity to be here with you and your audience.
Great. Now you're with the Collier Sheriff's Office, a busy man, no doubt.
Absolutely. There's always something going on down here in Naples. Fortunately, it's one of the safest communities you can live at in the entire country. With that, we have some in the box and out of the box stuff that we have to get involved with, and love working with everybody here in Collier County.
Well, today we're going to talk about safety first, something that Downing-Frye is so passionate about in their training of their agents. And since the real estate market is red hot and there's a lot of busy agents out there, you're going to discuss safety measures. And there's so many ways. I mean, you're going to talk about fraud and new technology. And where do you want to start? Do you want to start with traditional safety measures first?
We'll start with the traditional stuff. Yeah, with the intensity of the market right now and the number of realtors that exist and keep coming in. As far as the real estate area, we continue to see a huge saturation in the sales, the listings, and the number of agents that are here. So traditional safety is certainly an area that we need to focus on. And the part with that worries me the most is that people break away from traditional safety measures.
Really?
Your intensity and your desire to try to sell a house or to try to move something or to try to beat out your competition can lead a lot of people to forget about those traditional things, those things that you would have done before, because you don't want to lose out to your competition. Unfortunately, breaking from those habits can cause problems for people as well.
So where do we start? Do we start with when you first meet a potential buyer or seller?
Yes, I love the safety first acronym. And first meeting your potential buyer or seller is the paramount time for you to assess who you're dealing with. If you can meet them in person, definitely do that, because that way you know who you're really dealing with. And when we get to the fraud part in a little bit, we'll discuss that a little bit more. But meet the person in a place that you are comfortable with, whether it's your office or a public area. Make sure that you know who you are dealing with and that person ends up being the person that you had either met online, via phone, or wherever you originally met them at.
And then you meet, and then you go to your first house or you go to the seller's house. Are there safety measures that you have to deal with even doing that? Absolutely.
Whenever a criminal entity gets you isolated, that's where their opportunity is greatest. So whenever you get to a listing or an area or whatever it is, make sure that you are constantly in control of that. It doesn't mean you have to be demanding. It doesn't mean that you have to be aggressive, but have everything done to the point where you are comfortable, and that if something nefarious happens, you're on board with it. So if you're walking through a house, keep the people in front of you. Make sure that they don't lead you somewhere that you don't want to go. Make sure that you have friends, coworkers, family members that know where you're going to be. Check in with them frequently. Have your cell phone on you. Make sure that it's charged, and follow steps like that. And if somebody asks you to do something that you're not comfortable with, just politely say no. There's a reason why you're not comfortable with it. And unless there is some type of glaring reason why this person should be asking you that, then it shouldn't even be a factor in the first place.
And you say there's even issues to deal with when you're driving.
Absolutely. Obviously, with the addition of cell phones in our society, which has been for quite some time, but now everything, not just phone calls, but text messages, social media apps, listings on the property appraiser's website, what your competitors are doing, it's all on that phone. So phones can be a huge distraction while driving. Whenever you're in a neighborhood, you've obviously got residents that are there, kids that are playing outside. So if you're on your phone, or if you're distracted with your clients that are next to you, that can potentially lead to problems. I mean, the least of which could be you may run into a mailbox, but the worst of which could be you could run into a person. So you always have to maintain that initial focus on driving habits. And remember, you're in someone's neighborhood also, and you wouldn't want somebody speeding or carelessly driving through your neighborhood, and they don't want that either. So focus on driving. There's laws against texting. There's laws against careless driving. And so not only is it illegal to text and drive, but it's also unsafe as well.
What about new technology? How does that affect what you do?
There is a treasure trove of new technology out there. The phrase, there's an app for that, is so true, because there's an app for about everything out there. So there's an app for realtors in all sorts of areas. There's safety measures where you can be on an app and you're holding down this button, and if you take your finger off the button, then it alerts the security company. There's timers and whatever else may exist with these apps. You can use them to your advantage, but do not let them overcome the traditional safety measures. Those traditional safety measures, like we talked before, make sure somebody knows where you are, check in frequently, keep people in front of you, say no to going in areas, whatever it may be. Those are traditional. The apps should not replace that. In addition, apps can potentially give you a false sense of security, because a lot of them, you're dealing with a monitoring company, and that monitoring company is not likely going to be in Naples. So if I call 911 from my phone, it's going to send the call to the local emergency dispatch center, which should be in Naples. So the cops, EMS is going to know that you are at location X. An app is going to go to somewhere else. Let's just say it's in Arizona. That company in Arizona only has the option of calling the non-emergency number for what should be the Collier Sheriff's Office, if they even know that you are there. And then they may have to wait, because we're dealing with 911 calls. So 911 would be a better thing to dial than these monitoring companies if you were having an acute emergency on scene. That's something that a lot of people don't think of, but again, that communication factor is there. So emergency, dial 911. The monitoring companies, some of these apps, they can be helpful, but not necessarily the end-all, save-all for everything that you want.
Okay, let's talk about fraud.
Yes. I supervised our fraud and identity theft unit for years, and what I saw was a variety of predatory criminals went from committing carjackings, home burglaries, whatever it may be, drug sales, and they commit fraud because it's the thing to do. And if you haven't been victimized by fraud, I would be shocked, because it occurs so frequently, whether it's a skimmed credit card or whatever. But criminals throughout the world are looking for either money or personal identifying information from wherever they can find it. So the traditional methods of you didn't show up for jury duty, your social security number has been compromised, all that stuff, it still happens, but criminals are looking for the treasure trove of information. Realtors are part of that mix. I will say that one of the primary areas that we see business email compromises occur is in closings for real estate transactions. Whenever a client's about to close on a house or a business, there's an email that may come through about sending the money, wiring it to a different account number or whatever else. We see major fraud occur through that, because the fraudsters have been sitting dormant, watching your email, watching what you do, and then they find that right time to strike. So fraud is prevalent. Whenever you click on a URL or you click on an attachment or whatever it may be, that can put a virus, it can put a worm, it can put malware on your phone, it can put malware on your tablet, your computer, whatever it is. You may think that you're dealing with an unsuspecting client or what have you, and it's actually an attempt at fraud. Further, if you have a cell phone, you probably have personal accounts, whether it's your own Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and then you've got your business on there as well. Well, if any of those areas get compromised by some type of malware, it can give the criminal a portal either from your business to your personal stuff or vice versa. And from there, it's just whenever they want to hit it and whatever information they want to take from you. So it's very important to recognize and to be safe. If you get emails from prospective clients or whomever, we all want that next big sale, but that compromise could be far more critical and crucial to some type of bad action as compared to a potential client for you.
Now, to wrap up, is there a single bit of advice that you'd give to those agents that are watching and listening right now? Would it be common sense? Would it be What would it
Absolutely. Common sense and stick with the basics. The safety first methodology is great. And with the hyper-focused society that we live in, continue to do what you do, but don't skip on those basics. Law enforcement's no different. You know, cops, we have basic safety measures that we take in the field. And despite the fact that we are obligated to more and more things, whether it's medical calls, car crashes, fraud, or whatever, we still have to stick with those basic safety measures. You as a realtor should as well. And if you feel like something's not right here, or I don't like that, or it's different than what I normally do, there's a reason why you're feeling that. And don't just jump in that rabbit's hole. Make sure you do your due diligence before you end up doing something different than what you normally would do.
Great information. Thanks so much for being with us. And if you would like to get more information, you can visit Downing-Frye.com.